on Android.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Covington City Council meeting for Tuesday, May 28th. In compliance with state law, City Council special and regular meetings will be held in a hybrid format with in-person, telephonic, and virtual options for public viewing and participation. With that, I call this meeting to order, and Krista, if you'd like to please call the roll.
Councilmember Soltis.
I'm here.
Councilmember Porter.
Here.
Councilmember Hartsock. Councilmember Hardehausen.
Present.
Councilmember Simomo.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith and Mayor Wagner.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Look for a motion to excuse Mayor Pro Tem Smith and Councilmember Hartsock, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to excuse. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Any opposed? They are excused. If everybody could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next is approval of the agenda. Regan, do we have any changes tonight?
No changes, Mayor.
Thank you. Look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda has been approved. Next up is reports of commissions, Economic Development Council. Anybody here? Youth Council? Arts Commission, Patty. Welcome.
Got there eventually.
Giving you a quick update of our last meeting, not a ton has changed since last time, but we did meet with CEDAS about a project that we're kind of working on called, we're just kind of calling it the Karma Collective right now, but we had a good meeting, met with them, exchanged a bunch of ideas and took some steps forward, and hopefully we'll have something for you to review soon. A lot of work involved with this particular project, so when I say soon, I mean maybe. We also attended the
Makers Market.
Got it.
What was that?
We did the Makers Market, had a booth there, and it was pretty fun. We kind of were using up some of our supplies and just let the kids have a ball with it, and it was very successful. Our rotating art update is, as you know, we had some vandalism on one of the pieces of art, and we are taking next steps to either replace the art with the same artist if he's interested, or putting out a new call. So we'll just wait and see what happens there. So utility box update, the call went out, and so we're going to be reviewing some more the new art at our June meeting, which is coming up pretty soon. And we have located some boxes that we are interested in covering. They're getting covered, so that's pretty good, but new ones always seem to pop up. Our mural update program is nearly ready to present to you. We have finalized some information, lots of options there. Different cities do a lot of different things, and based on the amount of space that we have to put murals up, looks like we might be doing some public-private partnerships. So we're really looking into how that all works, but we should have everything ready to present to you very soon. We are planning our Covington Days and Kids Fest projects for those two big events, and I think we have some things nailed down, but I don't want to give it away, so I'm not going to tell you anything yet. And that is it. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Patty?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening, Patty. Next is Equity, Cultural, and Social Justice Commission. Human Services Commission. Welcome.
Thank you. First time, so bear with me. So my name is Darius from the Human Service Commission. First thing I wanted to mention is that we're very thrilled to kick off our meeting with some exciting news. We have Mr. Brian Chandler as our new elect chair. Congratulations to Brian. He brings a lot of experience from Kent as well, so we look forward to his leadership and what he's going to bring to commission for us. Next on the agenda, we had an in-depth discussion about our funding cycle, which started. We outlined the process step by step to ensure everyone understands the key stages and timelines of our that are involved. One critical action item we established was a rating for the human service applications that we received. We delve into how we'll score the applications to ensure fair treatment of every application that was put in. And also returning our key action items, we revise the rating human service application, we engage in robust discussion, finalizing scoring systems and things like that as well. We also heard a comprehensive report from Darren Patterson. He is our community care specialist. Darren updated us on various activities and organizations he's been working with, highlighting the fantastic work being done in our community. He's able to provide us with demographics of the clients receiving the services that we provide, and also the agencies that we fund, and also kind of verifying the homelessness as well, who's actually homeless, who's not, who needs the care and who doesn't. So he's been very helpful, providing us a bunch of reports on previous funding and what it's going to look like for next funding as well. We also distributed application folders just a couple of weeks ago for all the members of the commission. So we are reviewing applications 10 at a time, since this year was we received the most amount of application, 47. And with a lot of funding requests, so we have to be really reviewing everything individually to make sure everyone gets fair treatment. So yeah, so far we've done 10, we'll continue doing so till the end of funding cycle. Last thing, we visited the Babies of Homelessness, which is out of Bellevue. They had requested funding from us. There was some discrepancy in regards to what they were looking for, so we had to go there and make sure everything was cleared, which it was. They're doing wonderful things over there, providing, I think last year was about 450,000 diapers to low-income families. This year, they are en route for 1 million. So it's pretty amazing, and the stories you hear and all that. Yes, that is all. Any questions?
Does anybody have any questions for Darius?
All
Thank
right.
you very much for the
Thank you.
report. Have a great
Thank you.
evening.
You as well.
Next up is Parks and Recreation Commission. Laura, welcome.
Hi there. So I think Connie caught you guys up to April, so I'll give you an update on May. May, we had our parks tour that we do every year. We had Nate from maintenance join us, and also Ben Parrish. So with Ben Parrish, we took a look at the Wingfield open space plan. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with it, but it's I'm really excited about it. It's kind of a win for everybody. So if you're familiar with the Cohoe Creek development behind Kentwood High School, there's a small trail system, wetlands area that was put in by the developer. And it's an open space, a stormwater space, but it also kind of functions as a park because of the trails that are there. So it's not included in our parks inventory because it's technically not a park, but it does sort of function as a park because it has public access to it. That public access makes it a really unique spot. So what we have going on that Ben is spearheading up is restoration work for that area. He's pulled in just about every local partner I can think of. We didn't have any notes because we were on tour. So I know that Green River Coalition and I think Mid-Sound Fisheries is involved. And hopefully I'm not misspeaking because I'm just going from memory, but many, many active partners. They're going to do restoration work there. They're also going to do some stormwater work there. And then in the midst of all of that, they will also be doing trail work there. The trail that's currently there floods every year and for months and months at a time, which is causing people to create their own trails, which is causing people to trample plants. And anyway, the win for all of us is that we as a city get a better system, a better trail system. The homeowners get better access to this area that is theirs. Restoration work happens, which is a win for the ecology. And for all of these places that are doing restoration work, they have an accessible site where they can show off the work that they're doing to other people who are interested. Most restoration work does not happen on an accessible site. It happens on private property. So this is a really unique combination of factors that is pretty exciting for all of us who are involved in it. So anytime you're going to improve trails, I'm always behind you with pom-poms to cheerlead for that. So as Parks Department or Parks Commission, we were really excited to see this happening and gave some input into it. And yeah, really thankful for Ben's leadership on that. So that was kind of our first stop, the bulk of our stop. We also spent time at Friendship Park. We wanted to take a look at that park because it's a small neighborhood park that is increasingly serving more and more neighborhood as houses continue to be built in Covington. It's also an older park. It needs an update, but it's also easy for that to get lost in the midst of other big needs that the park system has. We took a look at the skate park, and we also took a look, we went through Founders Park. So we got to walk in there the first time, which was really exciting. There were people in there enjoying the park already, even though they shouldn't be, which I think speaks to the demand for a park in that area. Everything is looking great. So that park, I believe we're waiting on the electric company to put a transformer in. That's what's holding up the opening at this moment. So let's see. Yeah, that covers what we did on our parks tour. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for that? Yes, Jennifer?
Just a comment I had shared with council at our last meeting, that council has a representative on Ryan 9, and so we had voted approval for that Wingfield work for, I think, $230,000. So it's great to hear that we got to go out and see that in person.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about it. And I feel like Ben Parrish is doing a great job kind of balancing the needs of everybody involved, because homeowners, you know, if you say, well, we're going to put a trail kind of right behind your backyard, that could cause a little bit of heartburn. But I feel like he's really got some great ideas of how to mitigate maybe the effects of that and make all of the stakeholders feel very comfortable about what is happening there. And ultimately, this is not going to be a destination trail system. So it's teeny tiny. It'll improve access for the people that live there. Nobody's going to be driving to come check this place out. So
Anybody else? Laura, thank you very much for a great report.
welcome.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Next up is Planning Commission. David, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Wagner and the City Council. We had two significant agenda items for the Planning Commission meeting for May 16th. We had reviewed and went over the summary of the step plan housing code update as relates to the enacted House Bill 1220. And for me, it was quite an achievement because I got to fully understand what the STEP acronym really means. S is for shelter, it's a subtle emergency shelter. T is for transitional housing. E is for emergency housing. And P is permanent supportive housing. So now I got it in hand and I can speak STEP and understand what it really means. Thanks to Selena Lyons and Casey Broadfield from Burke for the presentation and the information. Looking forward to understanding the final state approved guidelines that were just received 1 week before the Planning Commission meeting. We also had our second review of the comprehensive plan element for transportation. Selena Lyons, Josh Anderson from David Evans and Associates, DEA, and Don Vandran from Covington Public Works Director provided us with the presentation and expertly answered all of our questions. We have the following agenda items for the next Planning Commission meeting on June 20th. We're on the final destination of the long 2+ year journey with the comprehensive plan with the element of transportation. We will be completing a public hearing on the full draft comprehensive plan at the June Planning Commission meeting. After the public hearing, the draft comprehensive plan will be sent to agencies with the review authority, and that includes Puget Sound Regional Council, Department of Commerce, and King County for the housing element. Comments will go back through the Planning Commission with the final version ready for adoption by December of 2024. Daphne Hernandez, the staff liaison for SKIP, South King Housing and Homelessness Partners, will give a presentation of the program in partnership with Covington. We will also revisit the STEP Plan Housing Code update with the new state approved guidelines, which I mentioned before. We're going to finally go through that material. Now, the big future activity planned is the Planning Commission will be participating in the comprehensive plan update and pedestrian bridge overview open house on Wednesday, June 12th, starting at 5:30 p.m. This is a real opportunity for everyone to find out more about the 2024-2044 comprehensive plan and also that pedestrian bridge project on 516. Looking forward to this event, really, quote, really bridging the community, unquote, and getting public input and feedback. Glad to provide you with this brief status update for the Planning Commission. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for David?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Have a great evening. That concludes our reports of commission. We do not have any public communication tonight. We'll move into our first public comment period. Speakers will state their name, address, and organization. Comments are directed to city council, not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Thank you, Joe. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. Once the city grants permission to speak, press unmute in Zoom or dial *6 to unmute by phone. Campaigning for any ballot measure or candidate at City Hall or during council meetings, including public comment, is prohibited by state law RCW 42.17A.555. Looking at our sign-up sheet, Patricia Campbell, welcome.
Patricia Campbell, 20028 Southeast 262nd Street, Covington. Is that everything? Dear council members and Mayor Wagner, I'm here tonight with an update regarding my request for speed bumps in front of our home on 262nd Street. As you'll remember, I first attended council meetings in September and then again in December about this issue. You then placed speed bumps on your January summit agenda. Since the summit, David Cisna has reached out to us. He listened to our concerns, patrolled 262nd, requested and received speed limit signs for the street, and shared recorded information based on the portable speed trailers data from 2 separate occasions. We appreciate his attention and time. From the data, I was able to see that in February, 74% of the cars were going over the speed limit, compared to 29% in May. That the average speed has fallen from 28 miles per hour to 23 miles per hour. And that 1/3 of the cars in February were under the speed limit, compared to 3/4 of the cars in May. These are all positive things, and anecdotally, it appears that the speed limit signs have made a difference. I appreciate having concrete facts to compare my noticings to. The data also explains one reason the adjustment has been hard. It states that in February, 384 cars per day passed our house, and by May, it increased to 614. That's an increase of 230 cars per day in a 3-month period. I'm sure you can anticipate my concern for the future when 204th is an active connector between Kent Kangley and Highway 18. To this end, David Cisna has committed to continue to monitor the street and periodically get new data from the speed trailer. I anticipate the car count to increase and speed to remain a concern. I'm thankful I'll have some data to bring forward in the future. I thank you for discussing speed bumps during your January summit, which got the ball rolling. I thank David Cisna for reaching out and implementing what he could and for continuing his efforts. I thank the county for placing the speed limit signs, and I thank you again for truly listening to me and others who come before you. I can only imagine how hard your job is as you navigate county and state laws which regulate the city's growth, all while trying to do what's best for the community. I'm proud to say that Covington is our home. We see you and you are noticed, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. It was very,
That's
very,
the nicest
Yeah.
thing anyone's ever
Please come back.
I really appreciate you coming and giving us an update of what was going on. And don't think that we're forgetting, because it will just continue moving forward that way.
Appreciate that, and I feel that, and I just wanted you to know, I appreciate not just in this matter, everything I see around us.
Thank you very much. You have a wonderful evening. Is there anybody else wishing to address council? David?
Yes, I thought I would give you a message, and it's probably not the right message, but it's great news. The child that was missing has been found, per my daughter, Jennifer Pearson. And she actually saw him with her own eyes. So everything is A-okay. I didn't want to leave the meeting without telling you so we could get that off our hearts and minds. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much, David.
Appreciate that.
Is there anybody else wishing to address council? Is there anybody else online wishing to address council at this time? Seeing nobody approach the podium or raise their hand, this first public comment period is closed. We'll move into approval of the consent agenda consisting of items C1 through C8. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. Next up is a public hearing. Tonight, we have a public hearing to receive testimony from the public regarding and considering an ordinance adopting and renewing interim zoning regulations related to permanent supportive housing, transitional housing, emergency housing, and emergency shelters in response to HB House Bill 1220. This public hearing is hereby declared, this being the date set and proper notices having been posted and published in accordance with state and local law, the public hearing is hereby declared open. And Selena.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Before you tonight, we have a public hearing on the HB 1220 interim zoning. This is the 6th renewal of this interim zoning. So before you tonight is essentially the same ordinance that was initially adopted in 2021. This is part of the moratorium process whereby every 6 months, if the formal zoning is not adopted, then we renew that interim zoning to hold space until such time formal adoption of code occurs. And as you just heard from Chair Cottle, the Planning Commission has this on their work plan, and they had the first reading of this last month. This essentially pivots, the HB 1220 pivots into the STEP ordinance is what the state is now calling it. So staff took forward to them an update. They're getting a second reading, and then we'll hold a public hearing, and then hopefully we're bringing that back to the council. As I outlined in the blue sheet, there's a lot of moving parts. And so part of the requirement of the comp plan is that those code goes with the comp plan, but Commerce also still hasn't set their model ordinance yet. So there's a good chance we send that to Commerce with our comp plan, and then we're going to be maybe possibly going back through this process again, but ultimately adopting formalized HB 1220 regulations. So that's kind of an FYI in my blue sheet. Before tonight, we are just hearing a public hearing on what is existing today in those interim zoning regulations before you.
Thank you, Selena. The ground rules for public comment during the public hearing are as follows. When your name is called, if you raise your hand, step up to the microphone, give your name and state whether you are a resident of the city of Covington. Please limit your comments to 4 minutes. The city clerk will set a timer that will go off when your time is up. When the timer goes off, please wind up promptly. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to address council concerning this topic? Is there anybody online wishing to address this topic during the public hearing? Seeing nobody raise their hand, I declare this public hearing closed. Does council have any questions for Selena on this? Okay, seeing no questions before us is the potential to take action to approve an ordinance renewing interim zoning regulations related to House Bill 1220 requirements for permanent supportive housing, transitional housing, emergency housing, and emergency shelters for a period of 6 months. Does council wish to take action?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Beth, would you like to speak to your motion?
We've been going through this to give staff enough time to figure out what they need to do to become compliant and how that will impact our city. And they just need additional time, and it makes sense not to do anything now until we know what's going on. So.
Thank you, Beth. Jennifer, would you like to speak to your second?
Just to say thank you for keeping this on the calendar while we await further guidance and, obviously do what's best for our city. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve an ordinance renewing the interim zoning regulations related to House Bill 1220 requirements for permanent supportive housing, transitional housing, emergency housing, and emergency shelters for a period of 6 months. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Selena, for bringing this back. That concludes the public hearing. Next up is new business item number 2. Agenda item 2 is to confirm appointments to the city's Independent Salary Commission. So it was adopted in January 23rd to adopt an ordinance to establish an Independent Salary Commission. I reached out as part of that to 5 members of our community. And I'm bringing forward the 5 individuals: Brian LaBelle, Lisa Egron, Steve Pand, Laura Roth, and Jenny Cook. Does council have any questions on that, or would they like to make a motion to approve those members to the Independent Salary Commission? Beth?
So just a quick question. Did we put an application out to the community for folks to apply, or was it,
No, our resolution is that the mayor is to reach out to individuals to fill this position.
okay. And the one thing I did notice on our resolution is that it said King County voter, but we are keeping it as Covington residents.
They have to be a
Yeah,
Covington
yeah,
resident
mhm,
as well.
yeah.
They have to be a Covington resident and a voter. And they cannot be working for the city or on any of our current commissions.
Commissions. Thank you.
Did I get that correct? Okay. Does council wish to take action?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to appoint the following members to the Independent Salary Commission: Brian LaBelle, Lisa Egron, Steve Pand, Laura Roth, and Jenny Cook. Joe, would you like to speak to your motion?
Knowing a few of these people and on a personal note, I think they are upstanding individuals. They care about their community. They care about the people that work for this community, and they have no problem telling us no. They have no problem telling, and they might have problems telling us yes. So I appreciate them. Laura will keep all of them on their toes and making sure they stay focused. And Brian is the gentle giant of the group who will make sure everyone knows they are respected and cared for. So I believe all 5 of them are good and will be able to do this job with no issues.
Thank you, Joe. Christina, would you like to speak to your second?
Sure, I'm just really grateful to these upstanding residents who have willingly given their time and to contribute to the greater benefit of the council and of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wish to speak for or against the motion? All right, it's been moved and seconded to appoint the following members to the Independent Salary Commission: Brian LaBelle, Lisa Agron, Steve Pand, Laura Roth, and Jenny Cook. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. Next up is new business item number 3, consider appointments to the Youth Council. Does council wish to take action tonight? We had 2 interviews earlier today. Beth?
I move to appoint Sadaf Wali to fill position number 11 on the Youth Council with a term expiring June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to appoint Sadaf Wali to fill position 11. Beth, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yeah, I was just really impressed by this young lady's drive, her passion for helping to make our community better. And it wasn't superficial stuff either. It was very heartfelt. How can we build a stronger community for now and the future? And it's very clear that she cares about her peers and some of the problems that they face. And she brought up a really interesting way that we could connect with youth on a more personal level by potentially going to schools on a more regular basis and helping to inspire more civic involvement. I thought that was a great idea. So looking forward to seeing more contributions.
Okay, thanks, Beth. Joe, would you like to speak to your second?
I'd like to echo a couple of things Beth said, that Sadaf gave some great answers on how we can be more, how we as a council can get things brought out to the schools, get our message to the youth that are at Kentwood, Kent Lake, Cedar Heights, Matson, getting more involved in the schools. That way, I think that would be a great and fun thing for us to do. But also, you could tell that she really cares about the people she's at school with and how there are issues in the school with some of the youth and how we can find ways to better get things better for them. And I think she would be a great asset to our youth council to help get those initiatives brought forward.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Jennifer.
Just real quick, I just wanted to point out that a recurring theme in her responses was kindness, and I really appreciated that. I don't think we hear a lot of that in responses, but you mentioned it multiple times, and understanding and nice and empathy, and I just really pulled that out of your interview. It was outstanding.
Anybody else? I just want to say I'm very impressed with the mature responses and the young leadership that you can provide. And I am looking forward to having the youth council. So it's been moved and seconded to appoint Sadaf Wali to fill position number 11 on the youth council with a term expiring June 30th of 2026. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. We do have an option to fill another position after the interview. Does council wish to take action tonight? Jennifer.
I'd like to nominate Lydia Burr for position 12 on the youth council with term expiring June 30th, 2026.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Lydia Burr to fill position number 12. Jennifer, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, I was impressed with Lydia's passion for getting involved and expanding her leadership skills, and connecting with the community, engaging with new people. Meeting new people is a lot of what we do on commissions and councils. I think she'll be a great fit.
Thank you, Jennifer. Christina, would you like to speak to your second?
Sure, I think Lydia is a gem. She doesn't seem like a extrovert, extreme extrovert, but once you get her talking, the things that come out of her mouth are wonderful. My favorite thing that she said, when asked what changes would you like to see in the city of Covington over the next 10 years, she said graduates giving back to their community. I haven't heard that before. And like Jennifer said, there was also a theme in her interview where it was just involvement, giving back and giving back. So I appreciated that.
Thank you, Christina. Anybody else wish to speak for or against the motion? Joe.
I just want to echo on the last thing Christina said. As a graduate of a Covington school, I think it's great when others come back and tell what's out there for the youth, what they can do, whether it is staying here in the community or branching out across the country, and letting them know that these are your options and here's what you can do no matter what, but coming back to the community to tell that story. And I think that is something that would be amazing if we can do it.
Anybody else? Been moved and seconded to appoint Lydia Burr to fill position number 12 on the youth council with the term expiring June 30th, 2026. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Congratulations, Lydia. Next up is new business item number 4, the 2023 fourth quarter financial summary and 2024 first quarter reports. Casey.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just give me a second while I'm trying to share here.
It's a screen inside of a screen inside of a screen.
Okay, so first off, I just wanted to let you know, I'm not going to go over the entire fourth quarter report since I have 2 to cover tonight. I thought I'd save you a little bit. I personally love to hear myself talk about numbers, but not everybody probably does.
I do.
I do too.
And I will also mention, I told Regan he had to wait for the story, but the reason that the fourth quarter reports are so late is because we were waiting for some final guidance from the state auditor's office, and we were pushing back just a little bit on some of the guidance that they had released. And I actually got to have a meeting with GASB, which is pretty exciting for an accountant to meet with the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. So it's pretty exciting. That's like top 5 of my career as an accountant. Like, that and getting my fund balance policy book autographed by the auditor. So that was pretty neat, but it did change the statewide guidance. So I had to wait for that to be approved before I could finish my financial statements and the fourth quarter reports, which we just turned in today and they're due tomorrow. So, but we made it. So first off, I was just gonna go over 2023 and just kind of tell you how things ended. I figured that was probably what you were most wanting to hear other than go through the whole thing. But so for the general fund, first off, I just wanted to mention that this is the final year. Last year is the final year of the recognition of the ARPA funds that we had received. So we just recognized our last $2.9 million of ARPA funds last year. So those are gone and spent as of now. For the general fund, our revenues, all our big revenues hit their budget. Sales tax, utility tax, property tax, all came in at budget. Our expenditures, every department was under budget except for the city council. And that was, there's a couple, but the city council, and that was only because the capital distribution that we gave to Skip, I didn't know that it was gonna hit in 2023 until after the budget amendment. Otherwise I would have caught it and you guys wouldn't have been over budget, but we had the funds, they're in reserve. So it's not a problem. The municipal court, it came in higher. We were anticipating it come in higher. It was, our caseload also went up by about 12.8% over 2022. So those costs just came in quite a bit higher for municipal court. For the executive department, animal control services came in higher. Again, we were expecting that.
Can you move up on the screen?
Oh, sorry, this is first quarter. We're not quite there yet. I just wanted to get it started. Sorry. Again, the executive department was over budget just a little bit. Animal control services came in higher. Rasky had a 9.5% increase in costs that it allocated to all contracted cities. So in turn for us, that was about $30,000 of costs increase that we saw last year. And then the only other department that was just a tiny bit over budget was the aquatics center. They had presented a couple of blue sheets last year that we were going to be doing some repairs up at the pool that we were going to take out of the aquatics center reserve. Generally what our policy has been is as long as the general fund in total isn't over budget, we don't really hit our reserves. We just leave them alone and we can continue to keep adding to them. That was the case for last year. The general fund in total was under budget. So we're not going to take those funds out of the aquatic center reserve. They'll remain whole. And matter of fact, we'll be adding about $600,000 to our fund balance for last year. So that's the general fund, how it kind of ended up. For the street fund, if you're looking at the report, the fund balance decrease that you see, it's pretty substantial, about $300,000, but it was planned. That was a transfer that we made to help pay for the maintenance facility. So we expected that. It actually came in about $24,000 higher if we take that out. And that was because of sales tax came in a little bit higher for the street fund last year. And also as well as interest income. And we've just really been killing it on interest income. I have to say, we brought in almost $1.5 million in interest income last year. It was over a 500% increase over 2022. So we made some really good investment decisions a few years ago that locked us in at some higher rates, as well as just the money that's sitting in our LGIP just really, really grew last year. So, I mean, if you put that in perspective, that could pay for athletics and recreation, the entire department or something. I mean, it's pretty substantial. Expenditures for the street fund came in a little higher than budget, but a portion of that is being offset from a billing to the Kent School District that paid for half of a signal installation. So it might look like the expenditures are a little high, but then the revenues came in to help offset that cost. For development services, our revenues are lower than budget, but we're still 1.2 million higher than 2022. So definitely going in a positive direction. Expenditures, on the other hand, are up, a big contributor being the fire impact fee disbursement to the fire district. But we also see those monies come in on the revenue side. So if you're looking at the expenditures and you see this big massive $600,000 fire fee, you're also gonna see the exact same dollar amount on the revenue side. It comes in and it goes out. And then what I also will mention is there was a couple of things like professional services that look like they're increasing. But with our latest fee amendment, that we just did last year, we're hoping to continue to recover all of those costs of providing services. For the swim fund, again, the swim fund's a little bit of a different animal. So when you look at the fourth quarter summary, you're gonna see net position, not fund balance. And what that really means is that the swim reports all its capital assets on its balance sheet. So it has all the pipe in the ground, all the catch basins, all that stuff is reported on the face of the balance sheet, whereas the general fund, street fund, development services fund isn't. So when you see these massive numbers like, what are we at, $19 million in the swim fund, it's mostly capital assets. And we did see a large influx of cash come in 2023. Those were the BPA delinquent charges that were finally paid. So that helped bump up the swim fund also. But most of it is coming from capital asset increases, and not just projects that occur in the swim fund, but if there's a CIP fund that takes place, like, here on 272nd, anything that's in the ground swim related is also going to be reported on the swim fund balance sheet. So those are increases also. And then just lastly, another thing I wanted to mention is our REIT funds. I usually kind of do this analysis at the end of the year just to see how much cash we have and how far that's going to carry me for my bond payments that I currently have. First thing I'll mention is, this is skipping a little bit ahead to this year, but our Public Works Trust Fund loan is now paid off. So that's exciting. It's very exciting. So for all we have left now for debt is our bonds that we have, and those are paid off in 2027. And with our current cash balance that we have in REIT, even though we haven't seen the best of years last year and even going into this year, I only need another $370,000 between what I have for cash, what we have in reserves to pay our debt until 2027. So that really frees up what's possible for those REIT funds moving forward. It's pretty exciting for an accountant. It's pretty exciting. All right, so that was fourth quarter. Do you have any questions before I move to first quarter? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. And I'm not the best at steering and talking, so please nudge me if I don't scroll down. All right, I am going to just jump right ahead into the good stuff. Okay, so for property taxes, again, we're early in the year. We don't really see the first chunk of property taxes come in until April. So we've only brought in about $116,000 through first quarter so far. What's notable for property taxes this year is our assessed value decreased by 6.5% over the previous year. But what that really means is, if you remember how our assessed value versus our rate works, it's kind of like a teeter-totter. So as our assessed value goes down, the rate goes up. So our rate went from 0.71 per $1,000 of assessed value up to 0.78, but the assessed value went down. Right, so for REIT, again, the REIT is coming in low because our home sales are down. Through first quarter, we're at 27.2% of budget, which on paper looks good, but we lowered the budget this year. So still, we're meeting budget, meeting expectations, but at that lower dollar amount that we had decreased it by this year. What I will mention is for 2023, there were 5 new homes. We're at 9 new homes so far this year, and the existing were 44 last year. We're at 37. So somewhat close, but what is interesting is first quarter, the average existing home price is $650,000, and new homes are $1,027,000 on average. So it's kind of interesting. Okay, so sales tax. So sales tax or unrestricted sales tax for first quarter, we're at 26.6%. Again, we ratcheted that down just a little bit this year because we were seeing some dips in the construction. Retail has been kind of bouncing around a little bit. So we did adjust our expectations a little bit for this year. But if you're comparing category, over category for first quarter of this year versus last year, our retail has come in higher, just barely 0.4, but I'll take it. Construction was lower by 5.5. Again, that's the category that we've been kind of keeping an eye on. Food services is up a little bit at 6.4, and all other categories increased by 5.3%. We've also got our HB 1406 collections. Again, just a little bit coming in so far, 13,204. And those are the ones that we currently have allocated to Buy Maple Place for rental assistance. And then we also have our HB 1590 funds, again, $179,000 coming in so far. And I'll mention, I forgot to add the street sales tax in here. So for streets, again, we're at 26.6% of budget because we base it on the same allocation method that we use for the general fund. But they brought in almost $180,000 so far for the street fund. For utility taxes, so for utility taxes, it looks like we brought in less than we did in 2023. It was a little bit of a timing issue. The solid waste in 2023, we received a late payment that came in the first quarter 2023. So it looks like they brought in more, but really it was just, we had 3 payments instead of 2 payments that we received in 2023. If I back that out, we've increased about $12,000 over last year. So about the same. And I will mention that we received our first water and sewer utility tax payments that became effective on February 1st. We've received $104,000 on the water side and almost $27,000 on the sewer side. Water's a little higher than the estimate that I was given. Sewer's a little lower than the estimate that I was given. And based they're on bi-monthly billings. I just got to see how it shakes out. I'll be watching it over the next couple of months to see. We'll be receiving that monthly, so the next one should be coming in. Well, any day now should be coming in. All right, so for the general fund, our operating revenues are at 23.8% of budget. Again, that's actually a little bit higher than we normally are because we don't receive the property tax until April. The expenditures were at about 14.2% of budget. And there's only one department that I really wanted to point out. Everybody else is under their 25%-ish for this time of year, is central services. It's at 37.7%. And that's only because we have like a one-time insurance payment that we make to WCIA early in the year, and then we're done for the year, but it's a big chunk, and so it bumps that percentage up. So for Public Works, the street fund, the operating revenues are right at 25% exactly, so right where we'd like to see them. The Comcast franchise fees, we're noticing that those are starting to come down year over year, and I'm not sure if it's just folks are getting off cable and starting to stream more or things like that, but just a real minor decrease that we're seeing there. Our gas taxes are up a little, and our motor vehicle fees are up a little bit. For total expenditures, we're at 20.2% of budget, so we're under our 25% that we expect to see this time of year, so that's great. For the swim fund, our total levy this year for our drainage utility fees is over $4 million for the first time. So $4,058,000 is our levy. Our largest levy for the swim fund. It's the first time it's been over $4 million. For total operating revenues, we're at 5.3%. And again, that comes in the same time as the property taxes. That's normal for this time of year. We don't expect to see any more until April. And then total expenditures are at 17.8%. For development services, our total revenues are at 25.9%, so great. That's coming in a little bit stronger. The number of permits for single-family residences are at 10 compared to 11 in 2023, so just kind of right where we were last year. And 77 permits in all categories compared to 97. But I will mention that I believe the valuation this first quarter was higher. I'll see if Kelly nods. It feels like the valuation was higher than it was in 2023, which usually brings in a little more money, right? Great. Sorry for putting you on the spot. Total operating expenditures are 19%. So again, under where we expect to be this time of year. So aquatics, recreation, and cultural arts, again, aquatics, they are almost right at budget, 24.4%. And recreation and cultural arts, 21.4%. So super close. Operating expenditures, both of them are under budget, 20.3 and 20 respectively. So for cash and investments, we've seen an increase over 2023 by 3.6 million. And our largest gainers are the CIP fund, the swim fund, and the equipment replacement fund. The CIP fund, I would say a good chunk of the increase is due to the interfund loans that they currently are holding to help with the cash flow on some of their projects, as well as impact fees that they've brought in. It's a higher balance from last year, so that cash is higher for that fund. And then the swim fund, it still has that BPA influx of cash that was quite a bit of money. So that came in after first quarter last year. So that is kind of the increase that you see for the swim fund. And then the equipment replacement fund, we've given quite a bit of money to them over the last couple of years for some equipment replacements. We had quite a few decision cards that were approved this year for some equipment replacements, and some of those purchases haven't been made yet, so the cash is still sitting there. Or the bills haven't come in, I should say. For the capital investment program, not a lot of activity to see first quarter. Definitely more bills coming in this quarter as building is ramping up. I've already mentioned that the Public Works Trust Fund loan has been paid off, so that's exciting. And our impact fees, again, I was mentioning we've brought in some more impact fees, so our current traffic impact fee balance is almost 1.9 million. So that's great. And then we have our interfund loan activity at the bottom. It just shows you the projects that we're currently giving interfund loans to, again, to help with that cash flow and when they expire in the current balance. And that is all I had, unless you have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Casey? Thank you for a great report. I actually enjoy hearing that, and I would be just as excited as you to get that autograph.
It's pretty exciting. I framed it.
Good.
Would you frame it?
Yeah. Now, finding a space on the wall, that's another question. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Next up is new business item number 5. Consider a resolution to amend the 2024 fee schedule. Kelly, welcome.
Well, good evening. I'm here tonight to talk to you and request an amendment to our 2024 fee resolution. As I've talked about in the past, at the risk of sounding a little redundant, we do keep an eye on our fees throughout the year, and we've come up with a few that actually need to be revised to reflect to ensure that they're covering the staff time spent on review and inspection. I think I mentioned when I was here in November talking about the fee resolution, I do tend to keep notes throughout the year as we encounter different permit types and make notes where we feel like maybe we're not quite capturing our costs. And since we had a few of them, we thought it was a good opportunity to come back and request for you to consider making those adjustments so that we are capturing 100% cost recovery. The traffic concurrency fee, these are the fees that are put forth by David Evans and Associates to ensure that we're covering their costs. We hadn't done a increase in their fees for several years, and so those are a bit of an increase. However, the increase is less than what it would have been had we applied the CPI year over year, since I believe it was 2012. Right-of-way use, non-construction fees, adjusted to capture staff and consultant review time and inspection. Failure to schedule job start for right-of-way permits. These are our franchise utilities that are out doing work, and we're just noticing it's been a bit of an issue for folks not scheduling those job starts, and it's taking staff a bit more time to go back and collect those fees. So that is by design to ensure that they are meeting the conditions of their permits. Special use permits. So this was a audit finding from WCIA, where we had been asked to create a special use permit. This is going to replace the 3-day special event permit that we would use for Covington Days as an example, but also provides us a avenue to have a privately requested permit, whether that be at a city park or other city-owned property. The special use permit, the fee schedule is tiered, and that is to encourage our applicants to get in early. And that helps us process things when we have more than 60 days notice. When we get into a situation where we're under 60 days notice, it's usually requiring a bit more effort on staff's part to ensure that the reviews get done and that those permits get out the door in a timely manner. And last, mobile food vendor. We've only seen one application actually come in for a mobile food vendor, but we are seeing business licenses come in. So we're seeing the requests come in the form of a business license, where we in turn request that they submit for their mobile food vendor permit. There's kind of a two-part process for a mobile food vendor. They need not only their business license, but they need the permit for the unit itself to be located in the city. So we wanted to clearly define what that permit fee is going to be. So those are the proposed amendments that we have before you tonight. Be happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Kelly? Jennifer?
The mobile food vendor, is that good for 1 year?
It is good for the calendar year, so they would have to renew that annually.
And then is there a process for like one-time instances of someone setting up?
So there are certain, for a mobile food vendor, not exactly, no, because we have to verify that they have all the proper permits through fire, through King County Public Health. And so we don't have just a one. If they came in, like, for example, under the umbrella of Covington Days, they wouldn't be required to pull a separate mobile food vendor permit. We would cover them under the special use. But if they were, for example, just a independent mobile food vendor that wanted to set up in Kohl's parking lot for a day, that wouldn't be something that we would just allow. They would need to go through that process of applying for a mobile food vendor
Gotcha.
permit.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Before us tonight, council, is the option to approve the proposed resolution adopting the amended 2024 fee schedule as presented. Council wish to take action.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Joe, would you like to speak to your motion?
I just want to point to this one thing in our blue sheet. This will help achieve 100% cost recovery for the services provided. I know the fees can feel, when you look at them, they can just look like that's terrible, that's a lot of money. But when you realize everything that goes into them and why they are that much, it's a necessity. But it also means that we get a cost recovery and for the man hours that we have to put in, for the outside services we may need. And it just helps us to maintain a level of service that is good for the people of Covington and for those people who want to do business in Covington.
Thank you, Joe. Christina, would you like to speak to your second?
Sure, I'll just add that this ensures that the processes that go on within the city are run smoothly. And when we don't update something since 2012, I believe that is obvious, and as to why it needs to change and be in accordance to what is more current, and our staff needs to get compensated for the hours and the time that they put in. and support. Thank you.
Thanks, Christina. Is there anybody else wishing to speak for or against the motion tonight? All right, seeing nobody else, it's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed resolution adopting the amended 2024 fee schedule as presented. All those in favor state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. That concludes our business for this evening. Looking at future agenda items, our next meeting is scheduled June 11th. We have commission interviews starting before the meeting. We have several public communication, and we will have a public hearing tentatively set up for the battery energy storage facility. Is there anything else council would like to see on a future agenda? Okay, with that, we will move into council staff comments. Start with Adam.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We concluded this past week the Community Police Academy with some of our residents that attended. There were 30 or so that did, not all from Covington, but from both Maple Valley and Unincorporated. They had a great time and want to thank you for your support. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. And great work on catching the individuals from the BECU and everything else. Just please pass on all the great work that your team is doing.
Will do.
Thank you. Let's see, Ethan's not on. Don.
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Selena.
I just have one thing, since we won't see you until after this event. Oh no, I will see you. I apologize. But the Planning Commission and the Public Works Department, as Chair Cottle had mentioned, we are holding an open house here and virtually online to showcase our final draft comprehensive plan. I just want to say we're super excited to have gotten that far. That's been 2 years, 9 elements. The commission's been amazing. And we're pairing that with the Public Works open house on their bridge project, and we're kind of doing from planning to action. So when we have these visions in our comp plan, this is how they come to fruition in concept. So we'll be inviting all the commissions. All those invites will be going out on Friday. So if you get, questions, you can send them to my team. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Selena. Casey.
I just wanted to apologize that I had to duck out of council the last meeting. My first grandchild was born a few hours later, so.
Congratulations.
It's pretty exciting. I was gonna wear my grandma 2024 sweatshirt, but that might be too casual for me. But that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Mark.
There's no executive session this evening, and I have no additional report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Regan.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick update on next steps for the Salary Commission. I've already spoken to Noreen, so she's prepared to present to them the findings of the salary survey of all of our comparable cities. Krista will send out an invitation to establish a meeting with the commission for Noreen to meet with them. And then the commission can go from there with establishing how many further meetings they need until they have a final report that we'll then bring back to council.
Great. Yep. Thanks, Regan.
You bet.
Krista.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina.
Thank you. First off, I just want to say thank you again to you for coming with gratitude and with good news. We don't often see that. I know that, things are asked of the city and when they are done, and that's okay. And that's normal, but just really appreciate, because it does sometimes seem like we don't see the fruit of our labor, just sometimes, but so thank you. I appreciate you. And I just wanted to also say that I love getting together with our 3 cities. Like we just had our Tri-Cities meeting with Maple Valley, Black Diamond, and us last Wednesday. And I'm just always so proud of Covington. If for nothing else, but I'm always proud of where we serve and the people that we serve with. And we just have such an amazing group. And the fact that we do a Tri-Cities meeting, unlike anyone else in the county, from my understanding, right? Yeah. We are stronger together, and when we collaborate, we get better ideas. So grateful and looking forward to summer. I feel like somebody snapped their fingers and 2024 is half gone.
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
Beth.
I just wanted to echo the feedback that we got from our public commenter tonight. And even more so, you're probably the epitome of what it means to be engaged civically, even if you're not part of a commission or a dais. It's just the thoughtfulness, the respect, and the passion for that issue that you had, which is an issue in other, it's been brought to our attention too, but I think just the way that you do it is I don't say you're a poster child for the way to help engage to get things done. So we appreciate the work that you did, because it does take a lot to take time out of your day to come to a meeting and share and gather your thoughts and write a very well-crafted, eloquent message to your council. So thank you for that. Yeah, always, it is fun to get together with other cities, and I feel like we shine. I really do. I mean, and I'm looking forward to other collaborations. I know we do some staff, like emergency management system collaboration and sharing of resources, but recently they had the Women's Summit, the Women's Leadership Summit, and it would be nice to see us also doing some other social and more community building things together as well that are more public facing. So we'll see what happens. It's not our job to do that, but we'll hopefully support that when we can. Gosh, yeah. Summer ahead. Covington Days is only, it's 8 weeks away, less than 8 weeks away.
What?
Serious? Yeah.
Thanks, Beth.
Anyway.
Jennifer.
I had the pleasure of going to Cedar Heights a couple days, week and a half and week ago, and that was a lot of fun. I got to figure out how to talk about city stuff to children. A little challenging for me. But by the second day, I was much better at that. It was interesting that there was a lot of similarities in questions, but one that came up maybe in all of the classes was, how do cities communicate with each other? So it was great to be able to say, oh, well, Wednesday we have our Tri-City. So I thought that was really great. And again, to echo what everyone was saying, well, first off, I was glad the meeting ended at 9. I have to tell you, I had such a long day, and I kept thinking, oh, last year was like 10:45 that we got out of the lodge, remember, in Maple Valley. But when I left the meeting, not only being elated that it was only 9 o'clock, I again felt, you know what, Covington, we're busy and getting stuff done. So, I don't want to say we're the best city, but I kind of do. Like,
Go for it.
yeah.
They're not gonna see this. It's fine.
I'll go on public record and say Covington is the best. No, I left feeling really proud, and I don't know, there was so much that our staff gets done every year and has so much content to contribute, because it was just a piece of it. We know there was even more than that, right? So very impressive. Also, I wanted to let everyone know I will be attending virtually on June 11th. I will send a reminder, Krista, for that. I will be in California. And then I wanted to ask if we've been getting a good number of nominations for Citizen of the Year, or maybe does council need to help advertise, send reminders to our community?
I will find out and get back to you.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, that would be
You
super
bet.
helpful.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Jennifer. Joe.
Believes that we have, or the subcommittee on our rules believes we have them straightened out and ready to go for a vote by the PIC members on June 11th. Once I have the packet, I will make sure that I'll send it to Krista to send out to everybody. So this way, if anyone else someday serves on PIC, you can know all of the details. Or if Christina, if I tell you I'm not going to a meeting because I need a break, you can know the rules and ready to go. But we should be voting on that next month, and should be all good to go. Lots of going back and forth, realizing that, hey, no, everything you're saying is already in the bylaws. We just have worded it very weirdly and let's get this fixed. So there was a lot of that and going from there. There is no regional transit committee meeting in June. We are going to do a field trip to one of the bases again, I believe. We just haven't figured out when we're doing that. So if anyone wants to go tour one of the bus depots with me, let me know and I will find out when and which one.
I would love to do that.
When I may be speaking out of turn, that I may allowed to bring somebody, but I'm the vice chair. What are they gonna do to me?
Pretend you don't know me and I just showed up.
They're perfect. That being said, yeah, that's really all I have right now. I hope the weather doesn't, we don't have the weird rain in the middle of the day for the rest of the week and we just have some beautiful weather coming out.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you again for being here tonight and you know, everything takes time and you planted the seeds and started the process and stuff, so really appreciate that. And then giving us an update and a positive update at that, so thank you for that. Really appreciate that. Cedar Heights, that was outstanding. I was there all day on Monday for the 6th grade classes. And then for 4 of the classes for 7th grade on Tuesday. And then the career fair on Wednesday. And I was impressed with all of the students, scholars that were there and then the questions they asked. And I always started, there's no such thing as a stupid question unless it's repeated more than once.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people ask me if I like certain video games and I kept saying I don't play video games, but anyway, they were very good questions and I was very impressed with Cedar Heights and how they had it all laid out. And then next year, we'll do a PowerPoint ahead of time. Also had the honor of doing the grand opening for Newberry Realty by Bruchel's. There must have been over 100 people at that ribbon cutting. It was packed. You had a park at Kentwood High School
Oh my goodness.
and walk over.
That is a tiny parking lot, but. good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was busy.
You could have charged parking, Christina, at your house.
Restaurant week, Beth, thanks for being there and Regan and kicking off restaurant week. It was a joint venture. Tonight was the last night for that. It's not the last night to go to a restaurant, but the last night for restaurant week. And it was a joint venture with the Covington Economic Development Council, Chamber of Commerce and the city. And we tried several restaurants that I hadn't been to in a long time and the food was outstanding. The Tri-City meeting, I love working with Tabby Dede. And yeah, we got done at 9 o'clock, so that was very nice. And Tammy Dede is the mayor pro tem from Black Diamond. And I also want to state that the videos that are on our Facebook page right now for the state of the city are extremely well done. And we're getting quite a few views. I can't tell if they're seeing the whole thing or not, but some of them are getting a lot of attention. And I thought they're very well done. And the short message that's on there for each, I think it's keeping the attention more so.
We had some good stars.
Sean had.
Yeah, you.
in those videos, so.
But no, I appreciate each of you for doing that and it's very well done. And please pass kudos on to Carla for doing that as well. That is all I have tonight. We'll go into the second public comment period. Speakers will state their name, address, and organization. Comments are directed to city council, not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. Once the city grants permission to speak, press unmute in Zoom or dial *6 to unmute by phone. Anybody in the audience wishing to address council this evening? Is there anybody online wishing to address council? Please raise your hand. Seeing nobody raise their hand and nobody approach the podium, and there is no executive session tonight, this meeting is adjourned at 8:15. Thank you.